Hello guys, this video will be about Filament but not for beginners, instead a bit more advanced topic, multi-tenancy. So yesterday on the channel we had a rapid fire video of Filament demonstration, and today we go deeper, and with this I decided to get back to older tradition as I'm shooting new course. So I've reshot Filament 3 course in video format. I'll release some of those videos here on YouTube. So now you will see the same video as it is in the course. It's called Filament Multi-Tenancy here, and if you want the full course with text version of the lesson and repository link, I will link the full course in the description below. And also tomorrow on this channel I will release one more video about multiple panels for admins and accountants. Now let's see how Filament handles multi-tenancy. In this video we'll talk about multi-tenancy and how it may be implemented in Filament. Multi-tenancy itself is such a huge and complex topic, and there are many ways to interpret multi-tenancy. For example, should it be tenancy by user, by company, by team, or something else? Should it be single database or multi-database? Should user belong to one company or several companies? And so on. If we open the official documentation on multi-tenancy in Filament, it's huge, but the important part is this. Filament itself does not guarantee any security for your application. It depends on how you write your code and do you implement all the conditions everywhere for it to be successful and secure. In this video, I will show you one version of implementing multi-tenancy in this application that we've been created. This part of multi-tenancy will be on a separate branch in the repository, and I will link that in the lesson. So we will create companies, and then each order, product, or anything will belong to some company, but then users may belong to several companies and switch between them. Let me demonstrate. So first I've created a company model with belongs to many to users. The structure is just this, just the company name, nothing else, and pivot table. The next step is we need to enable that model to be a multi-tenant model in Filament. And this is done in admin panel provider, where we enable the tenant, here somewhere for example, tenant, and then we provide the model name, which is company class in this case. And now we immediately temporarily break our application because we don't have some conditions. If we open the application now, it will show 404 not found, and if you visit the dashboard, it will show call to undefined method. So we need to define that method first. So in the user model, we need to add implements has tenants from Filament, which is this contract. Now it's immediately underlined because we need to implement some method according to that contract. And down below in that model, these are three methods that we needed to implement. First, the relationship on eloquent level, then get tenants, exactly the method that was missing in Filament error on the dashboard. So we specify that the companies is actually what defines the tenancy, and then can access tenant, which will be used as permission. And also for that I had to add model and collection and belongs to many on top in the use section. You can look at full commit on GitHub branch for all the details. Now we can refresh our dashboard and not found, because my user doesn't belong to any company. I will add that manually to the database. So let's imagine we have two companies, Apple and Microsoft, and I've added company user pivot values for company and user with 1, and I've logged in with user ID 1, and now the dashboard actually works. Not only that, we have this on the left, the company that I belong to. If we click here, nothing happens, there's no drop down. But if we add another value here for the same user, for example company ID 2, we refresh and we can choose another company. And as you can see, the URL is admin/1. If we go admin/2, then we are in the space of Microsoft company. Let's get back to Apple for now. So as you can see, at any moment I can be logged in to only one company, but the data doesn't change. And this is our next step. We need to define which company the data belongs to. Because if we go, for example, to see the products, we will get an error that products doesn't have relationship named company. which is expected if you use tenancy. So I've generated a new migration. In this case, I do 4 tables in one migration, which may be not ideal, but for simplicity. And also I'm adding default 1 value, which may fail for you if you don't have that company with ID 1, but I did add that manually to the table, and this will be okay for demonstration. I just warn you about what may not work in your case. So I've executed that migration successfully, and then in all the models of products, order, tag, and all of it, I add the same belongs to method to the company. And now if we reload the list of our product, it actually works again. But if we reload to Microsoft company, to dashboard is okay, but if we go to products, we see empty because there are no products with company ID 2. Let's switch back to Apple, and we need to implement one more thing called global scopes in Eloquent to prevent accidental data leak on Eloquent level somewhere else outside of resource, like for example the dashboard. Now currently if we launch Microsoft Dashboard, it still shows numbers from Apple. And to make all global scope in one, in the official Filament docs, they suggest to create a middleware which would add global scopes to all the models here at once. So let's do exactly that. PHP artisan make middleware. We launch that command, and then inside, let's actually copy everything from here. So let's just copy paste from the docs here and change what we need to change. Product, for example, will be the model, and we add the global scope to that product model. And there's a function where belongs to, recently added in Laravel for shorter syntax. And now we need to do the same thing to all other models. So order, same thing, and then order is added on top, and 2 more. Category and tag, like this. So see, this lesson is already getting longer. This is how complex multi-tenancy is. And again, we're just scratching the surface. There are many more things that you can customize and set, but let's finish our example. Where do we apply that middleware? We registered in the panel, as the documentation suggests, with this syntax. So admin panel provider, let's add at the bottom where we have middleware, then auth middleware, and let's add tenant middleware. Apply tenant scopes, should be added on top with is persistent true. The documentation says that it's for Livewire Ajax requests. Cool. Now let's refresh our dashboard. We are in Microsoft company. We refresh, and now we have zeros as expected because multi-tenancy is applied with global scopes for all Eloquent queries. The Apple dashboard, however, shows the numbers as it used to. As a proof of the query correctness, we can also take a look at Laravel debug bar, and you would see that we have aggregation from orders, where orders company ID in 1. So this condition is added to all the queries of Eloquent.